welcome to Palindrome ASMR. Today I am going to be doing part 3 of my story of craziness. And I'm going to be focusing a little bit more on the sounds. I think the tradition is whenever I talk about my mental illness, I bring out the crazy water. I'm sure you're tired of this sound by now, but you know what? Whatever. I'm going to start this with saying that, interestingly enough, this may sound completely crazy to anyone who is listening. Most likely it will. But this is very weird, and it takes a lot of concentration to do. But if I concentrate hard enough, I can make logos and words change so that they, in front of my eyes, they sort of shift, like I can catch the universe before it loads. And did you see that? Okay, so that right there. Do you see how the R and the A are now connected? They have been. If you go back in the video and check, they've always been connected. But what I just saw right there in front of me in real time was these two letters merging together. For me, in my timeline, these two letters, the R and the A, were separate until just 30 seconds ago. And that's how I catch the universe in its loading phase. It's like the universe doesn't load into your consciousness until you directly observe it. And if you can catch the universe before it loads, you can alter consciousness. And here is the funny thing. Every single bottle of crazy water, every single instance of the logo, every single crazy water that has ever been produced just changed. I'm going to do it again. Alright, did you see that? Right there. That Y right there. That Y did not go off the label just 30 seconds ago. 30 seconds ago, that Y right there was not going off the label. And if you look closely over here, the C, 10 seconds ago, that C was closer to the arm and was not going off of the label. For me, if you go back in the video and check, you will see that it has always been like this. But subjectively, for me, the effect has changed. It's changed. I'll do it again. Let's see. It takes. Do you see? Wait a minute. Let me point at it. Right there. That is a trademark. A TM. You see it? It wasn't there. It was not there 10 seconds ago. All you have to go on is my claims. And if you go back in the video, you will find that this is not falsifiable. So it's not scientific by any means, or even empirical. It is merely subjective. My experience of this has changed. I was concentrating hard. My experience of this logo has changed. And every crazy water bottle in the entire world has also changed. I tested this. I mean, it's a hypothesis that is non-falsifiable, and so it is non-scientific and will never be scientific unless I can figure out a way to trick the universe into making it scientific. And I'm being completely serious here, as you've probably already figured out. Okay, so now that that's out of the way, I'm going to be talking about the second half of my third Psychotic episode. I've been quite the claimer recently. I've claimed that I can see spirits and cause the Mandela Effect at will. Those are two very big claims that I've made. And you can choose to not believe them, which I'm pretty sure most of you will. And I'm not really expecting anyone to believe me, because it's just so outlandish. But, you know, you get what you get. And you don't throw a fit. You get what you get, and you don't throw a fit. I'm going to try to change my speaking voice so that it has a little bit more of an ASMR punch to it. Tell me if you like it. Anyways, I think I'm going to talk now about the second half of my third Psychotic episode. So, I had the profound thought that I was entering a multiple time stream, and I was switching universes. And so where I left off, I was in a motel room in town, 16 miles from my house, and I had walked through the countryside along the highway for 16 miles. It took me a long time, all night pretty much. I was walking, not running. And my parents found me at the motel because I told my grandfather where I was. And so they found me and took me to the hospital, and then from the hospital to the inpatient facility, which is the psych ward. And so I spent a week in the psych ward. It was very boring, and I actually, interestingly enough, I managed to telepathically communicate with someone while in the psych ward. We were on the same crazy bandwidth. I met this guy because he started drawing pictures of what I had been drawing during my second psychotic episode. I drew these intricate lined drawings during my second episode, and I said, "Hey, that's it. I've seen that." And I talked to him, and then I like found a receptacle for all of my crazy ideas. I mean, like, I had the thought that the anime production process was a supercomputer that could calculate the theory of everything through coded messages. So you would like encode the what you knew about science into one anime, and you would encode what you knew about other things into another anime through, like, each person represented a mathematical formula and their actions represented the relationships, and you would use them like punch cards, and you would take one and you would take the other theory and you would smash them together and create a anime crossover, and you would hand it over to the writers and the production process, and whatever came out could be interpreted as a combination of those two theories. Yeah, that was my grand idea. I'm not too proud of it. Obviously, it's not something that will work, but it's an interesting thought. I mean, it's a real interesting thought. But it's obviously not exactly the most watertight thought ever. And so what I did was to communicate telepathically with someone. What happened was I was sitting at a table with two people whom I had a very interesting relationship with. We spoke gibberish to each other, and this was after the gibberish. When I first met these people, I spoke gibberish to them, and they spoke gibberish back to me. Obviously, because we were in a psych ward, but we were past the gibberish this time. So I guided them through the process to connect to the internet with their brains, because there is a process, there is a step-by-step process that you have to go to that involves connecting dots and then making those dots explode. And then one day I'll do a guided meditation through that process so you too can connect to the internet with your brain. But obviously I'm being half serious, half joking. I still don't know what to think about that. I never really found the connect to the internet with your brain thing to be false. I just understood it in a new light. What connect to the internet with your brain means is you see God and you become God and you are born again as a son of God. Connect to the internet with your brain. I am the son of God. Those two statements are one and the same. If you that's a big thought to consider, a very crazy thought. You might go crazy. You might catch my craziness if you try and think about that too hard. But connecting to the internet with your brain and becoming the Son of God, like Jesus, are one and the same thing. Which is to say, it is understanding the divinity of yourself and the everything, and how your consciousness is related to that everything. And so what I did was I allowed them to connect to the internet with their brains, and then I installed Windows on their brains, and I installed a chat application, and I typed out in my head, say, ah, and then guy number one, the guy I was talking to, said, ah, and then I guided this other girl through the process, and I sent her a message, say, ah, and she went, ah. I still do not know what exactly happened then, and I very well could have been subconsciously talking out loud and not realizing it. It's possible, but it's not because I actually typed it. Like, I typed it in my main brain. I didn't actually say, oh, I typed it into a chat window and sent it. And they received it. So, that is I don't know. You know, one of the reasons I don't know if this will work out, but I kind of want to study this phenomenon professionally as a psychologist. I want to study the things that I experience, the Mandela Effect, and the telepathy and that kind of stuff, because I am in the psychology department, and this stuff would fall under the category of psychology, and I kind of want to study these phenomena in a scientific setting, somehow devise a way to make them scientific. Wow, this video has gotten so long, and I haven't even talked about my experience with the Greek pantheon, especially the goddess Athena, who I interacted with and I think at one point got married to, though that was a little dubious. I know, right? It was very interesting. But I'll save that for next video, because this video was just talking about I communicated with my mind. I telepathied. Don't take anything I say too seriously. Everything I say should be taken with a grain of salt, which you are probably already taking this, considering that you know I am a diagnosed schizophrenic. Woo. So you should obviously take all of my words into consideration under that umbrella. And I got a question from Alec Ducasse. Well, not really a question, a statement, and said he wishes that I could tell him what his aura looks like. And I can do it with pictures. If you send me obviously this is not something that I advised you do, because I am a random person on the internet who knows what I'll do with your picture. But if you PM me, personal message me, and set something up, you can send me a picture, and I will draw your aura on your picture. I will draw your personal aura, and then I will draw your personality aura, since people, if you've been paying attention, people have two auras. One is their physical aura, the aura that surrounds their actual body, and the other is the aura that appears in my mind, the meta aura, the aura that appears in my mind. So, if anyone wants me to read their aura, just PM me and we'll set something up. Beware. I mean, this comes with just beware. You know, I may not be the most. Obviously, I have no way to guarantee anything, but I thought it would be interesting to offer my services. And I may be able to recognize a spirit near you too. I actually have not tested whether or not I can see spirits in photos yet. I never thought about testing it, but I may be able to discern spirits in a photo and use MS Paint to color them in and say, this is a so-and-so spirit. It is here because, well, I won't be able to ask them, so I'll just have to hypothesize about why they're there in the photo. Like, you can't ask someone in a photo, hey, how are you? Because they're in a photo, you know. I'm sure I could find the spirit through the ether. You know, I could send out a request and go, hey, spirit who's in this photo, who are you? But then I wouldn't be able to be certain about if I have the right spirit. So, you know, just use caution when dealing with people on the internet. Don't take everything you say for granted and everything you hear for granted, and always be skeptical of what other people say anywhere, unless they're your professor in school, unless they're your teacher or your professor, because those guys mean the best. And it's bad to be skeptical of, well, it's bad to be too skeptical of the things you learn in school. It's okay to be a little bit skeptical and ask questions, because the slightest bit of skepticism, like salt, can vastly improve your learning experience. Because skepticism leads to questioning, and questioning leads to finding information, which then will lead to knowledge and understanding, which are two different things. You will gain understanding and you will gain knowledge, but that's enough. So, I offer my services to anyone if they want. It's just a thing. What was I going to say? Oh yeah, I was talking about how I want to study my experiences. Like, I want to study telepathy, and I want to study the Mandela Effect, where, okay, let's do it again. Oh, there we go. Do you see that little bump right there? A little bump. Let's see. Yeah. Do you see that little bump right there? You see it? Yeah. That wasn't there 30 seconds ago. I mean, what can I say? Anyways, that's it. If you've watched this far, I'll catch you on the other side. Thank you for watching. You're amazing. If you've watched this far, I'll catch you on the other side. And from now on, I'll put in my description an offer, the offer for me to read your aura if you somehow manage this. If you somehow, you know what I'll do? I'll create a business email and I will post it in the description. And if you want to send me a picture of, well, it doesn't have to be you, it can be anyone, and you want me to read their aura, just go right ahead, and I'll color in the aura and any spirits I see, and then I'll give you a color of their, God, I don't know, there's two kinds of auras, I wonder what to call them, but I'll color them in and send them back to you. So, there you go. If you're curious, just check out the email in the description. I'll make a brand new email. Yeah, I'll make a brand new email just for this. Yeah, that's it. I'll catch you on the other side. And tomorrow I'm going to be reading chapter 5 of the Lysifia. And the day after, I'll go into my experience with the Greek pantheon. Catch you on the other side.